The following is a presentation of WSAV Sports.
Hello, I'm Sports Director Andrew Goldstein. The coronavirus pandemic has taken a lot from us, the 2021 Blitz Border Bowl included. Though the game may not happen this year, we still wanted to honor some of the best senior football players in our area.
I'm Connor Delpreet, and for the next 30 minutes, we will introduce you to the players that would have been on Team Georgia and Team Lowcountry if the game was actually being played.
Well, let's start with the signal callers for Georgia. We've got some really good ones. Jaden Adams was a dual-threat monster at QB for Islands all year. Patrick Blake and Tyler Coleman make the list for Jenkins and Richmond Hill, respectively. But Connor, you can't talk quarterbacks without talking Spencer Robichaux.
Yeah, if you're a senior and you win the Finnecaro Award, which is Chatham County's version of the Heisman, you 100% deserve a spot on this list. He'll kill you through the air with 48 career passing touchdowns, but you have to be mindful of his mobility too. It seemed like every time our cameras were there, he was breaking off a long TD run.
I have coached quarterbacks now for since 2001, and he's got to go down as one of the best I've coached. And so I feel he's a Division I quarterback.
Traveling north of the state line to take a look at Team Lowcountry's men under center, Peyton Bennett of Thomas Hayward led his team to a third consecutive state title this year. And of course, the Mr. Football finalist himself, May River's Ahmad Green. This guy was fun to watch, huh, Connor?
Fun would be a severe understatement, Andrew. Even with a small sample size this year, we saw him make some special plays. In 5 games, my dude went for nearly 600 yards and 10 TDs on the ground, plus throwing a pair of passing tutties. And get this, he actually wanted to try out some new positions on the team. But the Sharks coaching staff told me his talent at QB is simply irreplaceable.
He's definitely a steal for the Citadel, just because what he can do when he's got the ball in his hands. And that was our whole, focus offensively. He'd make a bad play turn into a good one in a minute, in a second.
So we just did the quarterbacks. That's all well and good. But let's take a look at the guys those QBs were handing off to. First on the Georgia side, Aaron Bazemore for Screven County is on the list. Can't forget Ashad Roberson either. He ran for more than 1,500 yards this season. Demasio Harris is on there for Jenkins. And then straight from the Calvary Day backfield, Greg Daniels. Such a difference maker, huh, Connor?
Yeah, voted one of the best running backs in 1A private by the AJC. Daniel was a human highlight reel down the road at the Specialty Sports Complex. More all-purpose yards than the Titans' Derrick Henry this year. The Army commit had an impressive curtain call with 17 scores, too. Coach Mark Stroud said he played a crucial role coaching up the young guys, too.
His stats improved tremendously once we started playing both sides of the ball. But, he was one of the leading rushers in the state this past year, and some people would say he's one of the better players in the state this past year. So he's just a really, really solid player. Since he's been in our program.
Now the running backs for Team Lowcountry. There are 5 of them, by the way. J.R. Patterson was out here playing varsity from day 1 freshman year at Thomas Hayward. He's on there. He's joined by Jaden Grant, Trey Kelly, and Bluffton's Jalen Houseel. And last but not least, Kylan Simmons, a 3-sport athlete, Connor.
Yeah, Andrew, one of my first days on the job here, Bobcats head coach John Houdt informed me about this kid. And boy, did he live up to the hype. All region, 3 years in a row, Kylan made it his mission to do whatever the coaches asked him. Even take some reps at defensive line. So fearless doesn't even begin to describe this guy.
And that's just who he is. He's a competitor when it comes to those things, and not being afraid of who the person is, whether it's a 6'8", 300-pound offensive lineman or it's a linebacker 6'1", 200. He's going to go against and give everything he has for that.
That is high praise for Kylan Simmons. You can tell right away that he is one of Coach's favorites. He'll love to see that. Let's go back to the Peach State and take a look at their wide receivers. Trayson Speaks was a dynamic player for New Hampstead, of course. We'd be remiss to leave out Jordan Clark at Richmond Hill. And then there's the Duke commit, Trent Broadnax.
One of those guys, Andrew, that feels like he's been here for 6 or 7 years, probably because he's a 3-sport athlete for Benedictine. Big Brother likes to call him Mr. Walk-In Man because his breakaway speed and ability to create separation allows him to just waltz into the end zone time and time again. Basketball may run in the family with Dad, the head coach at Savannah State, but make no mistake, Trent is going to Duke for football.
He is a tremendous athlete. Anything he does is special. That's just kind of the kid he is. Led all of 4A in receiving yards this year, and then also played defense and had 2 punt returns for touchdowns this year.
So we have a ton of wide receivers on Team Low Country, so many you can't even fit them all on one screen. We've got Jatarius Pouchet of Thomas Hayward, Jordan Simmons of Colton County, Melvin Liverman, who's also a state track champion in the 400 meters. Then there's the 6'3" Trevon Brown out of Bluffton. But wait, there's more. There's Marcus Goodwater out of Buford, a threat to score every time he touches the ball. Then there's Justin Smalls out of Battery Creek. Finally, JP Peduzzi at Hilton Head Christian. I swear there are a million Peduzzis that went through that school.
Yeah, it really does feel like that, doesn't it, Andrew? His sister Abby is no slouch on the basketball court. We'll get into his dad in a second, but Peduzzi leaves Hilton Head Christian as the all-time leader in points and touchdowns. Should come as no surprise given he plays QB, wide receiver, and place kicker at times. Stats are great, but what he really chased this year was a state title, and he finally won it with his dad as head coach. That's a send-off.
It's been a great 4 years, and we'll miss him dearly. But it's been fantastic. It really has been, and we've been blessed, and definitely to be able to be together and go on this journey for 4 years and win the state championship the last games. Not too many people get to do that with their son.
Now, some players can't be defined by position. Some truly do it all in such a way that they can only be defined with the term athlete. We'll have a look at them as well as the offensive linemen and special teams when the Border Bowl special rolls on. Stay with us.
The Blitz Border Bowl Team Show is presented by WSAV Sports and the Savannah Morning News.
Now, you won't necessarily see our next position group on the college depth chart, but make no mistake, coaches are recruiting these guys who fit tons of roles on the team.
Yeah, we call them athletes. They've proven to be some of the most electric players on the field. Just get the ball in their hands and let them do the rest of the work.
Yeah, that's right. So we've got 4 athletes on Team Georgia. Noddy Thomas from New Hampstead and Ames Ratcliffe from Statesboro. Both played corner on defense. And then there's Ontario Brown, just a special player out of Beach. And Antoine McKay of Bethesda Academy is the Savannah Quarterback Club's college scholarship winner.
Yeah, 10 grand going towards his education, and wherever he decides to take those talents, let me tell you, I think whoever snatches him up is getting a real steal. Asked to take over the offense as a freshman, McKay took his bumps and bruises, but it made him better as the years went on, and when it was all said and done, he logged over 60 total touchdowns and was nearly mistake-free down the stretch.
From his sophomore year to his senior year, he only threw 7 interceptions. I mean, he's just been absolutely phenomenal. The light bulb went off. He continued to work hard. He stayed committed. He's loyal. He's a true blue blazer, and we're just proud of his success and what he's done for our program.
Low Country also had some impressive athletes on their squad. Nayrone Holmes is a track athlete for Colton County in addition to their quarterback in the football team. Jalen Reeves of Whale Branch made it on. Then we've got a pair of Seahawks on the squad, Connor Schmitz and Sam Suma.
Yeah, let's take a closer look at Sam here. Hilton head coach BJ Payne calls him the best leader he's ever coached. And that's saying something, considering the talent that's made their way through that program on the island. Despite the Seahawks playing just 3 games this season, the 6'6" star is impressing people, pulling in D1 offers from Lafayette and Arkansas State. That's a testament to his work ethic this offseason.
You know, he was a kid that took this time that we've had, you know, as a world over the last 9 months and really developed himself, developed his body, didn't get boo-boo faced, oh me, poor me. You know, he worked, and, you know, that's a sign of great player.
If there's one thing you should know about the WSAV Sports Department, it's that we are certified offensive line respecters. We've got 10 linemen on Team Georgia. Leading off is Andrew DePhillips out of Benedictine. Then we go south of town to Brunswick, where we find Georgia Southern commit Caleb Cook. Ryan Merklinger from Calvary and James Stevens from Savannah Christian are on the list, plus the big guy from Camden County, Micah Morris, already enrolled at Georgia with Kirby Smart and company. On to the second section of our offensive linemen. Second Savannah Christian guy on the list. Welcome to the team, Justin McGinnis. An equally warm welcome to Taylor Moon of Statesboro. We got another pair of offensive line teammates with Jaheim Howard and Joseph Maxwell of Windsor Forest. And then there's big Weston Franklin out of Wayne County.
Been hearing his name pop up on top prospect shortlists for ages, it seems. With 20 scholarship offers from the likes of LSU, Michigan, and South Carolina, it's safe to say this guy was highly sought after. Franklin will stay in-state at Georgia Tech. His high school coach Ken Cribb says he's well equipped to make that jump to the collegiate level.
He's taken a lot of pride on having very quick feet, and he's a very high IQ football player. So he understands the importance of hat placement, hand placement, quick feet, being in the right position. And a lot of times he would have success against bigger guys.
So who are the mighty 10 offensive linemen for Team Low Country? Well, 3 of them are coming from May River. Will Wilson, Moxon Zare, and Garrett Bonneville. We've got 2 Carlton County ballers on there too. Ian Shark, great name, and Kobe Ferguson did yeoman's work up front for the Cougars. We've got Aaron Rode from Whale Branch and his 4.8 weighted GPA on the team, way to hit the books. He's joined by Luke Kinsey of Battery Creek, Terrence Wilson of Beaufort, and Luke Bond of Bluffton. And we've got to take a second, Connor, to talk about Therian Cannon out of Thomas Hayward.
I'd take a minute to talk about him if I could, because his tape says it all. You'll hear coaches say they want a little nasty in their O-linemen. You want nasty? Look no further than this guy. The tape is amazing. Ragdolling guys everywhere on Friday nights. I'm not lining up against him anytime soon. It's no wonder UAB scooped this guy up. The senior star headed to Birmingham on scholarship, where he looks to bring those pancake blocks to Conference USA.
He doesn't want to be a tight end or a running back. He is an offensive lineman. He loves being an offensive lineman. And he, like you said, he thrives on putting the guy in front of him in the dirt. I mean, this has been his goal, I think, since he was an 8th grader, that he was going to play college football, and he was doing whatever it took to do it.
Kickers, punters, long snappers. This is your time to shine. We have arrived at the most special part of the show. Inject the special teams section into my veins. Will Walker was a long snapping ace for Benedictine. He was putting the ball in the hands of the power punter Nick Dillon. And when you need a game-winning kick, who else would you rather call than Britton Williams?
Yeah, because it's not easy to be a star and a kicker, especially on these massive 6A school rosters. But yet, Britton had the whole Richmond Hill crowd chanting his name with a field goal range up to 60 yards. I don't blame him. And a penchant for putting kickoffs into the end zone. I think Eagle Nation up there in Statesboro is going to love this Georgia Southern commit. I know his high school coach does.
He's one of those guys that loves being a football player. He's not a kicker. He is a football player. He wants to be a member of the football team. He lifts as hard as anybody we have ever had come through the program.
Moving her right along to Team Low Country specialist, Gavin Heinschel was delivering accurate snaps all the livelong year. Cameron Strickland, Hilton Head Christian, a wide receiver in addition to being a punter. And then Henry Tomey for Whale Branch. Nobody more fearless with the ball on his foot, Connor.
Yeah, you'll hear his coach walk you through the stats in a second, but when the Whale Branch Warriors called on him, he typically answered. A member of the all-region team, Tomey also cracked Loco Sports' first team specialist lists. To top it all off, listen to the prestigious label Tomey earned from Coach Jerry Hatcher.
He's the best kicker in school history. I think he's got 17 career field goals here. He was 5-5 field goals this year. He had a 41-yarder. As a junior, he had a game-winning field goal in the first round of the state playoffs. I don't know how I'm going to replace him.
I see all the defensive players out there waiting, tapping their feet, eyeing the TV impatiently like it's a quarterback waiting to be sacked. Well, don't tackle the TV because you're coming up next. DBs, linebackers, linemen, cool your heels for just a few minutes.
The Blitz Border Bowl Team Show is presented by WSAV Sports and the Savannah Morning News.
We kind of get in our feels a little bit when we think about not having this game. So hopefully this special gives those athletes a well-deserved spotlight, but nothing will replace the matchups we would have missed.
One that I'm thinking of that would be intriguing year in and year out happens to be outside the hashes. These talented wide receivers going against some lockdown corners.
Let's take a look at those DBs. Wow, Georgia really had a deep secondary class this year. Cam Selders out of Calvary Day starts us off. He's followed by Claxton Shikari Denson, who had 17 interceptions for his career as a Tiger. Then we got a pair of Country Day standouts in Eric Brown and Paul Mosley. Keeping it with the private schools, Bradley Anderson out of Savannah Christian makes the list. He had a monster game against Mount DeSales Academy. Screven's PJ Flowers makes it, and then a pair of Windsor Forest teammates in Malik Demery and Jamario Blige.
Jamario Blige not only has one of the best names in Coastal Empire football, he's also one of the most respected defensive talents in this region, leading a Knights squad that allowed less than 5 points a game in the regular season. The Tennessee at Chattanooga commit battled through some adversity this year, but Coach Jeb Stewart says he never let it dampen his spirits.
Jamario was our leader this football season, and has been a leader in this program for years. You know, he's a high character kid. He's already signed to University of Tennessee Chattanooga.
Let's take a look at what we've got over on Team Low Country. Amari Jenkins of Whale Branch made the list, as did Ty Shaw of Wade Hampton. Tommy Stauffer of Hilton Head Prep made first team All-Region as both a wideout and a DB. And then there's Nishawn Green from Hilton Head High. On the next list, we find Green's teammate Adam Clark. They made quite the ball-hawking duo. Alex Frazier of Battery Creek played lockdown D this year. Anton Griffin is repping Colton County. And then there's Stephen Gadsden, first team All-State for May River.
Gadsden earned a Class 4A state selection despite being one of those guys that played in a reduced season. Sometimes the best barometer for a corner's talent is how rarely he gets targeted. And according to Loco Sports, very few teams wanted to target him, but he still finished with a pick and 26 tackles. Coach Rodney Summers has always been impressed with his versatility.
He's a guy that can come down and play, you know, an outside linebacker. He can play receiver. He's you know, physical, smart young man, is on and off the field. Another guy that we're going to miss tremendously.
There were so many good linebackers to choose from in Georgia this year, but 9 in particular really stood out from the rest. Bubba Chisholm from Islands was the Savannah Quarterback Club's Defensive Player of the Year. He joins Myquan Stafford of the Johnson Adams Smashers. Their lone selection this season, C.J. Donaldson reps Metter, and John Mastroreilly anchored a stout Richmond Hill defense. A couple of other players carrying the banner for their schools, David Tharp for Savannah High and Ben Bingley from St. Andrews, making sure their programs get some love. We've also got J.D. Kaiser from Statesboro and Cavante Legree from Windsor Forest. Finally, Trevin Wallace was that dude for Wayne County.
Certainly was. Trevin battled some injuries his junior year, but the 6'2", 215-pound linebacker was chomping at the bit to get back on the field for his final high school season. Paid off with 14 D1 offers from the likes of South Carolina, LSU, Auburn, and Georgia. Coach Ken Cribb has seen plenty of great players come through this program, but he says no one has gotten the attention that Wallace has.
A lot of times when you say a kid is a Boy Scout, a great character, they start getting concerned about his talent level, and then they watch his film and they quickly understand. But his character is better than his talent, and that's saying a lot because you know, I'm telling you, everybody who's watched film have called back really quickly.
Bringing up the front for Team Low Country is the 6'4" Zach Terry out of Wade Hampton. Then we have Daryl Green out of Colton County, plus Troy Chisholm, who is a tackling machine this year. 107 of them, to be precise, for Hilton Head Christian. We've got a pair of Beaufort backers coming up next on the list. Daniel Fairs and William Winburn both made their presence known for the Eagles this year. Then you've got Eli Hall, the Loco Sports Defensive Player of the Year. Well-deserved, I'd say.
A guy who didn't really have to wait his turn, Eli Hall earned a spot on the Sharks starting roster as a freshman. The guy wrestles too, so it should really come as no surprise that he brings a physical element to the game that makes ball carriers a little hesitant to hit the hole. Check out the stats though. 66 tackles, 6 of them for a loss. That's a whole lot of 6s. Hope no one's superstitious.
Whoever gets him is getting a fine young man that definitely has a passion for football, and he's just as much May River as Ahmad is. You know, he's the guy that the face of our defense.
We've now come to our last position group, and folks, it's finally time to let the big dogs eat. That's right, it's defensive line time, and we've got some good ones on Team Georgia. Ramon Turner of Windsor Forest, Jalen Burns of Vidalia, Dake Williams, Statesboro, Garrett Perry at Christian, and Shaquan Brooks of Richmond Hill. That right there is all the defensive linemen you'd ever need. But it's not all the D linemen you're getting. We've also got Jaquez Williams out of Jenkins. He's going to be a South Florida Bull next year. Fuchs Lewis out of Calvary and Bryce Paschke out of Benedictine join him on the roster. And then there's DeMonte Smith of Islands, one of the most dominant defenders we saw this year.
Yeah, he burst onto the scene with a multi-sack game against Jenkins, and that was actually our first live game of the week for the 2020 season. And I remember our announcers being just bewildered by how quickly DeMonte got to the QB. He averaged a little over 6 tackles per game and totaled 10 tackles for a loss. But that number would have been a whole lot higher if not for an accident that ended his season. He'll be okay, and he's expected to play at Middle Tennessee State next year.
That cat there, he's a player, man. He's a good football player. He's an even better kid. You know, so he has a huge heart, and he was a leader for us also. Ultimate competitor, does what he needs to do. He always takes care of business. He only played in 5 games for us this year. He had 33 tackles. I think he had like 11 tackles for loss.
Over on Loco, Jalen Roberts of Whale Branch, he has a wicked first step. John Hewlett is a workout warrior, cranking out 360 on the bench press at Thomas Hayward. Finally, Toshane Whittingham would have suited up representing May River. And had he done so, Whittingham would have looked down the line to see his teammate Rhett Harrell. All 6 feet and 4 inches of Carson King made the lineup out of Hilton Head Prep. Then we've got Theo Washington, a really special guy out of Beaufort, Connor.
Another defensive guy who has that wrestling background uses it to his advantage too. Watching his film, you notice the guy doesn't let one offensive lineman just deter him. He'll bounce right off him, just get after the ball carrier. Has a couple of forced fumbles his senior season, and a big reason why Beaufort was able to win back-to-back region championships.
His level of intensity, his level of want to, I think really elevates everybody around him. He's got an infectious personality. He's a really, really smart kid. He's got great grades.
So, those are the rosters. All 105 players are present and accounted for. But there's still one more thing to do. Coming up after the break, Connor and I will hand out our team MVP trophies.
The Blitz Border Bowl Team Show is presented by WSAV Sports and the Savannah Morning News. The Blitz Border Bowl Team Show is presented by WSAV Sports and the Savannah Morning News.
So real quick, Connor, if we played this game, who would be your pick for MVP?
Jatarius Pouchet for Team Low Country, loves to catch the ball a ton. Ashad Roberson for Richmond Hill, broke a ton of rushing records at that school.
I'll stay on the rushing train for Team Low Country with J.R. Patterson, and then I'm picking an offensive lineman for Team Georgia, Micah Morris, the Georgia commit. Well, that's all the time we have for the Blitz Border Bowl. Thank you so much for watching, and that, my friends, is a wrap on the 2020 football season.